Nissan's GT-R undergoes minor revisions pretty much every year, but for 2017 it receives some of its most significant updates yet. Nissan's James Oliver, who's in charge of sports cars and commercial vehicles, strangely, for Nissan in the UK, talks us through the GT-R's changes. Talk me through the exterior changes for the 2017 GT-R.
Well, the most obvious change at the front you see there, an entirely new design of front bumper, more aggressive lines in there, more extreme raking in there. Doesn't just give us a visual improvement, it improves the airflow and it gives us better cooling as well. The intakes are larger at the front. Feeding up into a newly designed grille, taking on the V shape of the Nissan family grille, and that V extending up into the newly sculpted line of the bonnet and coming over the flanks here. Running down the side, we've got wider side skirts than before, again good for airflow but give it a great look as well. And at the rear of the car, a bumper that takes much inspiration from the GT-R Nismo. New diffuser assembly and exhaust arrangement there.
Now, yeah, you mentioned the exhaust. They're new as well, aren't they?
They are. The entire exhaust system on the car is now titanium, and that's done two great things for us. It's efficient, but it's lightweight. In addition, it's allowed us to introduce a driver-operated exhaust valve control system. So when we talk about this car having a loud pedal, that really is the case in this instance.
And how about the rest of the drivetrain?
The drivetrain is refined and developed, so GT-R has been subject to obsessive development over the years, and this model change is no different. Smoother shifts on the up and down change in the gearbox, and there's been fine-tuning in the suspension area as well. I think contrary to the perception that some people have, that the GT-R is a digital experience and produced in a factory by machines, that there's a lot of soul that goes into these cars, and the engine development is a great example. So our Takumi master craftsmen hand build the engines in GT-R. There are only 5 responsible on these cars, and each Takumi is responsible for an individual engine, and the engine bears their name at the end of the process.
And more power?
Slightly more power, yes. Never a criticism of the car, but okay. On the basis that lots is good, more must be better. An extra 20 PS on this model.
Okay, all right. Well, should we take a look inside?
Absolutely.
Cool. It's quite different in here, isn't it, mate? Run us through everything that's changed.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head. Massive changes on the inside. If we start with the dashboard, there's a really nice leather treatment now running all the way across the top. Stitched in contrasting colour here on this version with the Recaro seats. On the driver's side, we've got a new wheel, obviously still bearing the GT-R logo, but a completely new design there, not just aesthetically but functionally as well. So the paddle shifts for the gear change are now fixed to the wheel.
Because they were on the column before, weren't they?
They were. Yeah. So you can now change gear mid-corner. On a lower powered car it's less of an issue, but this thing gathers pace so quickly it is absolutely necessary to be able to do that on the move.
It looks less cluttered, screen bigger.
Absolutely. It takes very clear bloodline here from the R34 with the PlayStation derived gauge system, and as you say, much less cluttered, helped in part by it being touchscreen. And secondly, by the rotary commander on the centre console here, allowing you access through all of the functions.
And what about the rest of interior refinement and so on and so forth?
Well, they were the bits that we could see. The bits that you can't see, we've got an acoustic glass windscreen now to help to cut out some of the background noise, and a lot of work has gone in under the surface in sound deadening, so that this car will be more refined at speed. Has that added any weight, the extra soundproofing materials? It has added a little. These things don't come for free, but in line with the obsessive development on the car, we've caught that weight back in other areas. So the seats, for example, look very similar to the outgoing model. They're just as supportive, but they're actually lighter weight. There's a new construction technique gone into the seats, as an example. The bottom line weight is the same then, isn't it? It's very similar to the outgoing model, yeah. Okay, cool.
Autocar will be testing the 2017 GT-R at the end of May. UK customers can expect deliveries from September with a price as yet unconfirmed, but you should expect it to be a little more than the current car's £78,000.